Let's jump into something I know you've been geeking out over for the last few days. Literally, you want to talk about the synthetic?
No, I want to
know?
show it, Robbie.
Oh, you do?
Okay, so we're going to cut video now, and please listen to this message from Sam.
Welcome to the AI show from Think Labs. In the whirlwind of AI advancements and innovation, we do the deep dives and all the research, so you don't have to. We Fisher-Price the essential news, updates, interviews, and breakthroughs of the week, providing actionable insight that impacts you, your teams, and your companies. Now, let's get started. Here's your hosts, Sam Stanton and Robbie Sawyer.
Hello and welcome to episode number 9 of the AI show. I'm Sam and I'm here with Robbie, and we have got some fun things to talk about today, Robbie.
Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle.
Both of us.
So we need to perhaps catch up a little bit as to what's been happening because we've been gone a while. We'll do our pulse, which is like what's the latest and greatest.
Yeah, sure.
We've been told that stories are the best things for people as opposed to all the other stuff. So we've got some fun stories to share. And then maybe we'll do some rapid fire.
Okay, yeah. I like rapid fire.
Let's start with... Let me
Something
tell you
big,
what I
something-
did.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I did for the holidays.
Yeah,
Nothing.
really.
I just nerded out and did nothing. But I know you did some really crazy stuff, so do tell.
Yeah, you did some stuff at the beginning of the year, but
Yeah, we'll get to that.
yeah, no, mine. It was fun. I was gone for 10 days, 12 days. Went to a little country. Went to a little country called Switzerland.
Switzerland. I've had some chocolate from there and some holy cheese.
Yeah, they've got chocolate. They got watches. They have all kinds of fun. They also have mountains
Yes.
and beautiful, beautiful countryside. So yeah, it was a pretty special place to be sure. Had no idea. Interesting fact: Switzerland is half the size of Kentucky. Which I
Okay.
thought was random.
But that would mean I have to know how big Kentucky is.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you can take a guess.
I want to know,
Awesome
Robbie,
experience.
tell me about some AI adventures in
It's always about
Switzerland.
AI.
Yes,
Listen,
yes, it is. It's the AI show.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I have realized, shouldn't say that. I mean, AI comes in handy in times and places that you just simply don't, you wouldn't think that it would. So we fly into Zurich, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. Land, rent a car. Great communication with the rental car agency, budget.
And you're
Awesome
driving on
guy.
the left side.
No, it's driving. You drive. It's normal there.
I
Just
mean,
like it
steering
is
wheel's
in-
on the left.
Every-
Cars, you drive on the right side.
Everything is exactly like it is here in the U.S.
Okay.
So anyway, go to pick up the car and immediately turn the car on, and something doesn't sound nice. Car, something doesn't sound normal. When you go to start the car, there's a voice that comes on, and
It's
not,
Hogan's Heroes.
No, that's not right. No, but the car was obviously it's Switzerland, in the northern part of Switzerland. Everything there is in German, and it was a German car as well. But started the car, and literally everything, not just the voice, but everything from a GPS perspective and all the controls, because it was all digital.
So pre-AI, that would have been a problem.
Pre-AI, it would have been a problem, to be sure. So anyway, I sit there and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. You drive in a new country, just the stress of everything going on. So I literally pulled over and it dawned on me, well, hang on a second. Let me just take a picture of the dashboard of this car and the controls, and gave it appropriate prompts like we would. I'm in Switzerland, American, just picked up a C whatever Mercedes. Can you please help me translate this, first of all? And then I thought, well, wait a minute, better than translate, how about I ask Boggler to share how I can actually change the controls from German and the language being used from German
Okay.
to English.
Oh.
And, boom, 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 boom. And literally in a, 2 minutes time, I was now driving a vehicle that was all completely.
So just to recap here, folks, the important thing we always try to drive home is that the AI did not take over the car. It did not take over Robbie. It instead worked in collaboration with Robbie in what we call a centaur, half human, half AI, to solve his problem.
Yeah, long story.
See me bringing it back there?
Yeah, absolutely. But hilarious. That was just the first incident. And then, it's like when you're staying in different places in a different country, menus are easy a lot of times.
Right.
But we check in and, we're in multiple different Airbnbs, and thankfully there's washers and dryers. But if I can't read German or French, I'm not going to be able to ascertain exactly how to use the dryer or the washer. Sure enough, boom. Take a picture of the dryer and the washer. These are the controls for a washer located,
So it wasn't
wherever,
you weren't trying to figure out whether you ate too much fondue or actually put your jeans in the dryer too hot. Nope. You now knew for sure.
Yeah, I knew I ate too much fondue. But anyway, those little, aha moments where you're like, wow, okay, I've got a quick answer for this. But it's pretty fun and amazing to be able to use that.
Yeah, and that's bigger picture on all that stuff. I think we both went through this. That's not a normal, natural solution.
Okay.
That I think even us, I can say for myself, at first that's not a normal, natural thing. Again, it's that whole thing that we talk about. It's those tiny actions that turn into habits of, oh, well, now my source or my solution isn't try to figure it out on my own. It isn't try to Google it, right? It's now use AI to help me. And that takes a while to do.
Yeah. I think, and again, we can move on, but this was a hugely important component. I think I shared with you, we had someone get food poisoning while we were there and had to go to, a pharmacy or, to get some medication. And even before doing that, again,
what do I ask for?
What do I ask for? What's the trend? Again, it's like, okay, if I was in the U.S., this is what I might take. What is the medication?
And what are the customs? And where do I get it? Do I need a prescription?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and then it was also helpful with the girl in the pharmacy that couldn't speak any English. So it was, and then I was able to take certain pictures of certain things, and literally taking a picture at the grocery store and help me understand exactly, I'm looking for this, but
right?
I need half and half cream.
Right.
I need which one of these is half and half cream? Right.
In Swiss.
Yeah, in Swiss.
Yeah.
Right, or in German and French or whatever it was. So anyway.
Well, that's a cool application.
Yeah, super cool.
All right. Well, I did some vacation stuff earlier in the year, so I didn't do much vacation. I did a lot of nerding out and preparation. I'm going to segue here into what we call Pulse, which is tell us the real activation and use. And we had on January 2nd a big activation and a fun program that we went to be a part of for a big sales team. And we did two things. We did thinkers, which really all this comes down to it, right? It's how to think differently, how to do things differently as things change constantly. So kind of a really interesting left-right punch of let's do that. And then of course we got into quick start, which for those that are new, that is our overall, what is AI, what is collaborative AI, and how specifically do you use it, and here's some tools to do so, and the knowledge and the confidence, right?
And we keep talking about we're going to do a show just on thinkers, and we should put that in the pipeline.
Because man, that was so fun. It's just a freedom for everyone to start thinking different and looking at things different. It is fun, but it's backed by crazy science, and it's a great thing. But let's talk about that. What happened there? That group was similar to most out there. They've had several AI, I guess, virtuals and in-person stuff in the past, but again, it's been all in the future and quantum computing and flying cars and robots and lasers. Nothing practical, nothing tactical, nothing that was relevant to that person in that audience that could use that today. So
Well, they didn't even know that it was possible.
Yeah, this was also interesting. This group was on the lesser side of understanding or coming in with any precursor as to what AI is. They were pretty much wide open, but they were also completely wide open to learn more, and they were really interested. There wasn't much hesitation. That was funny based on your thought, because the day prior, getting people to start thinking different and doing all that, Robbie mentioned that it was maybe good to lead off the AI day and just kind of give everyone a quick punch as to, hey, remember, we're thinking different and doing that. And so I started it by asking all of these top salespeople, how many of your clients are coming to you now saying, I just want to do what we've always done. I don't need to change anything up. Just keep it the same. Of course, crickets, nobody, right? So that is so true. And that really set the tone. So that was an interesting way to start, to get people to start thinking, hey, maybe we need to do things different. We're not saying you have to go full bore and do everything, but just open your eyes to that.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything different until your competition hits up your client with, hey, how about this?
Right.
You know, and then you're like, wait a minute.
One, I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Two, I don't have an opinion. And three, I don't have a solution.
Right.
So that was a really fun thing. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. We're preparing for another one here in a week or two. The interesting thing around all of these is we'd like to do a lot of research as to the audience and the industry we're speaking with, because we try to at least at first point out, here's where you currently have AI in your life, in your world, in your industry, and then maybe you did or didn't know that, or just connect the dots on, but here's how we're going to move forward. So on this one, it's been fascinating. It's for, like, I don't know how to define them correctly, but they're contractors working in sort of pipeline, oil and gas.
If you are in
contractual work
construction,
for the government.
Yeah, if you're laying pipe, yes, all of those things.
So it's like, how much AI could they really be doing? Well, holy cow. I mean, those massive trucks that are the size of buildings.
Literally, yeah.
That are mining and doing all that stuff, those things are now AI. There's not a human anywhere close to it. The human's sitting in Florida behind his desktop and driving those trucks. So it's just really, it's an eye-opener for me to see that while we're talking about this, just a definitive, just a different sort of AI that's come out, man, there's so much AI that's prevalent all over the place.
Yeah, but as we were talking about, it's like trying now to pull it back a little bit to help people understand that sort of AI is happening, but now helping people recognize that they have the power in their offices now to be able to. Now, going back to, we were talking about telling stories, I think you jumped ahead, but go back to the event that you were at in Phoenix. I don't know that we mentioned that, but talk about the interaction you had with the account executive specifically.
Well, thank you, Robbie. That takes me right into the prompt part of Pulse.
Perfect. Well,
no, so there's no doubt we get people excited. There's no doubt people can go take on the world after we give them this. Their eyes have been open, and as we've said, the Q&As that happen after these workshops are endless, and they're so fun because you see people now empowered with confidence and knowledge, right? So this one guy runs up and he's like, man, I need your help. So I have got a client that's a huge client in a big piece of business, and I've been with them for 10 plus years at least. And it's amazing, and I love it, and it's awesome, and they've made my life, and blah, blah, blah. However, each year, I normally, around this time of year, I get hit up by my clients saying, boy, you guys do such a great job. I should get you with a whole different division.
Right.
So then they follow up, and they have a Zoom or a meeting or whatever, and it ends up being just a bunch of niceties, and oh, that's great, and yeah, we should really look at how we do that. Nothing ever comes up.
They never get any traction.
So now that he's learning that he needs to think different,
sure,
right, which was so fun to see, he now wants to think different and see how can AI change that. So I was like, oh man, what a perfect use case. And I pulled a couple other people in and said, here, I'm not going to solve it. You and AI are collaboratively. We're not replacing this guy. And so I just basically explained, let's explain your plight to AI and let's get some guidance there. So he proceeded to talk to the AI, again, just using the microphone button so you don't have to type it.
He's using generative AI.
He's using prompt. He's using a boggler prompt.
Right.
Literally.
Okay.
So he could type it in or he can hit the microphone button and he can talk it in.
Yeah.
So tell it about your situation. So he gives that situation. Tell it about what the potential or future opportunities are. Great. Tell it what's happened in the past. Okay. Now I asked him, what is your favorite business psychologist, salesperson book guru that you love? Because everyone's got one or two.
Sure.
So he named a couple, and I was like, I think in this case the best one would be Christopher Voss and Never Split the Difference. If you don't know him, you should go check out that book. He is an egomaniac on the highest order, but he's also the world's best hostage negotiator again and again and again. But he wrote this book about the psychology of talking to people and getting to action as opposed to just talking, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I said, okay, that's the book we're going to use. So help me, Boggler, create and craft the right questions that I should ask in this, what's normally a superfluous conversation,
sure,
that I can move from niceties to action. And base those questions on the theories and principles from Chris Voss's book, whatever.
Right.
And so he's looking at me like, really, that's it? That's how you unlock this thing? I was like, yeah, just do it.
Gotta get
Hit the go button.
Going. Right.
And so instantly, now we got a whole bunch of people around us, and instantly it pulls up all these questions. Now, are all of them good? No. But are 3, 4, 5 of them good? No, they're amazing, right?
Okay.
And so beyond here is what you should say, like the exact words in this particular order, here is a citing, if you will, back to the theory of why it should be said like this and where it's been used. So, I mean, the guy is like, what's going on?
Right.
So amazing use there. And that, in essence, is kind of what we like to call also the facilitated AI one-on-one. So that's something that I've been doing a bunch of as of late, where you go sit down, not talk to a whole group, and overall this is what we should be doing and thinking, but sitting down with an individual and saying, tell me about your world. What are you working on, right? Now let's look at that. Now, thinking differently, like in our thinkers thing, and looking at this differently, what can we do and how can we employ AI to make a difference, make impact, do something differently?
Amazing.
So
yeah,
that was fun. I'm going to step into another fun one around that, using, and we're going to talk about assist here with this. This is, again, some more pulse stories of how that works. So again, for those new to the show or don't know what we're talking about, assist is the product that we're getting ready to launch, and then Sam takes it back and says, oh, it would be better if, and then the guys go work on it some more. So we will get this thing here launched pretty quick.
Yes.
Sorry about that, but it does get better and better. And I know I need to listen to my own good enough.
Right.
But so assist is an intelligent assistant that captures every interaction that you're having. It listens to not only what's being said, but how it's being said, the emotion, the behavior, the pausing, the responses. And then it takes all of that, it throws it into the Boggler ecosystem, it analyzes it, and it summarizes it and gives you executive summaries and action items, and it does all this stuff. It is amazing. It is an amazing business tool. That's what it was initially designed for. But I did spend a ton of time during the holidays creating this massive algorithm for all those times and those interactions that aren't business oriented, because we should be using it all the time.
And backing up, for those that don't know, Assist is literally as simple as an app on your phone.
It's an app, and you know what? Darn it, Robbie! Do you mind if I boggle this?
No,
guys, that's what we're going to be doing now. I am now boggling this podcast. But think about that for every interaction, phone calls, consultations, or whatever. Now, there's the setup. Now, let me share what happened. So, not to bring it down, but to make crazy impact, we had a major crazy medical emergency during the holidays, and a family member, in the end, long story short, has a seizure. They are taken to the hospital and they've got a massive brain tumor, and everything that you know in the world is now turned upside down on its head, right? I mean, it's just instantly. So not only that person, but everyone around them, no matter how sane or coherent or whatever you are, that is all thrown out at that point.
Yeah.
It's fire drill the
process
highest
that.
order,
Yeah.
right? It's like the Mike Tyson, everyone has a game plan until you get punched in the face. Okay, so there's the punch in the face. So in a normal scenario, going and visiting a doctor, you completely don't understand what's going on.
Glassy eyed.
But now you're not even, you're not even there and all that kind of stuff. So I told that person, look, just fire up assist. Just record whatever any medical professional is telling you, so that one, we can all listen to that. One, listen to it, but two, we can start using AI to understand what in the world that doctor just said. To understand and then have questions that we can ask back.
Exactly.
Hey, you said this. What do we mean by that?
Okay.
And then to also kind of double check the doctor and say, this is what's happening. Is this a normal response? Would you suggest doing this or this? Again, not replacing a doctor, but giving us more confidence and knowledge as to what's going on.
Yes.
So no, it's not taking action items and next steps and whatever we're doing and timelines for a business. Holy cow. And because then you take that and say, okay, I just sat with a doctor for 35 minutes and they were telling me every ology, this and this in the book. Can you just explain it so a 12-year-old understands? And there it is. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And the end of the story is really great. Surgery's done, things are removed, prognosis is awesome, technology and medicine's moved so much, everything's going to be completely revised and move forward, not with radio or chemo, but a pill. You don't even know this. Take one pill. It just came out in the last 6 months. It's an enzyme that you take that goes and attacks any remaining whatever, and you take a pill every day. So anyway.
No, that's awesome.
But assist, holy cow. You bring not your closed circle, this is what we were talking about also, not just your closed circle of knowledge and past experience, but the whole world's. And you have it right there at your fingertip to make better decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad everything's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a crazy story, but thankfully in the end, everything is good to go. You know, it's fun. This next topic, if you will, or the next story is a fun story. You know, it's Howdy Homemade.
This is a fun and heartwarming, and I love. I mean,
It's fun because I know how passionate and how caring you are.
I love making impact, right? And I love seeing things with a purpose. So great. We're making everyone's business meetings better. We're making your emails better. We're making your sales pitches better. Hey, we're helping people with doctors. But I love this. So to Robbie's point, for years we've helped out a friend who is on a mission to empower adults with special needs. They're kind of the hidden society within society. In North Texas alone, there's 250,000, well, I call them kids, but I mean, they're kids.
Young
they're
adults.
just out of high school, which they've been supported all the way through high school with
They've
every
sort
program.
of aged out of, right.
And they've aged out of any support.
Right.
And so Tom has created Howdy Homemade, which is an ice cream store run and managed by adults with special needs. Amazing. It's going across the nation. He's selling ice cream in all the stores. It's killer ice cream.
They have their own Dr. Pepper.
They have Dr. Pepper chocolate
Right.
chip that won the best ice cream and food at the State Fair of Texas.
Which is no small feat, if you know anything about the State Fair of Texas.
So throughout the years, we've helped them. And I just got to thinking, especially over the holidays, like, man, can't this AI stuff help those guys out? So I hit up Tom, and Tom's like, well, I don't know a whole lot. I was like, okay, well, let's sit down. So here's the thing, because I didn't understand whether, someone on the spectrum understands that they're perhaps missing opportunities for engagement or whatever it may be, or just general processes, because they don't have either the technical skills
of typing,
right, or even just handwriting, and or maybe they can't process how to process and do all that stuff. Do they even know, or not? And that sounds horrible and it's very generic, but it's a good story here. So Tom goes, no, they know, and that's a big problem because that's really a downer for them, in that they know that they're kind of at a disadvantage when they're trying to interact and all that. I was like, okay, well, we're going to fix that. So I sat down with Tom. I had a great, quick start with him. Here's AI and all that stuff. Now forget all that mess. Let's talk about your kids. Choose one of the biggest hurdles that you think we could work on. So one of those is just that communication. They do a lot of catering. So talking to the catering clients, Tom's trying to not empower these kids, not just to sell ice cream, but to have general communications.
Sure.
And be able to deal with the public on an ongoing thing. And so that's been his goal, is to be able to get people, these guys and girls, to be able to talk to corporate or whoever and arrange and do things. And they do, and they've been doing some really great things, but that communication piece is tough. So quick, here's Boggler. Hey, this is so-and-so. Please write an email to a past client saying that we really appreciate all they've done in the past. We'd like to come serve you some more ice cream. Is there an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, that's amazing. And when you think about it, sorry to interrupt you, but the byproduct of that for someone to be able to, we always talk about collaborating with, generative AI, to be able to have a conversation and not be fearful.
Well, so I'm very nearsighted there, talking about, oh my gosh, look, we took care of this task. But to your point, the tasks are endless, right? And one of the biggest things is just training. And the thing is, you don't train once. You got to keep training and training. As we know, actions turn into habits and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. So many of the kids are so self-conscious. Once you've told me how to do something, I don't want to ask you again, because I feel like you're going to think I'm inferior, right? But if I could talk to my AI, and I didn't do this, and I wish I had, and I will this week. Boggler's amazing and awesome, but in his case, they need Pi, that emotional, conversational AI where they can talk to it, and it talks back. So I forgot, how do I check somebody out? Or I forgot, what is the proper mixture for mopping the floors for that? Or how do I run the ice cream machine? I forgot, just like Robbie trying to figure out the German washing machine. Same thing. Now Boggler is super powerful for him, because he can take all of those training manuals he has, he can take all the brochures and everything they need for the sales thing, and he can dump it in there. So again, we're doing a bunch of things, but this is going to be a really fun side project, if you will, of super empowering these kids, not for a better day at work, a better life.
Yeah. No, it's fun. We talked a couple shows ago about, I think it's important as we continue with this, however long it ends up going, but it's, being able to share stories just like that. Use cases where it truly can impact people in ways that, we were just talking this morning before the show. It's like, we don't even know yet.
We don't know. We don't know at all. It's barely a year, right? Hopefully we'll talk about it more here, and if we don't, ask us, because we should be. That's really fun stuff, and that doesn't just affect Tom or the kid, it's the kid's family.
Sure.
People come in with, this is my kid, this is all they're going to be able to do.
Right.
And we just said, we just dumped that on his head. So I just cannot wait to see all the avenues and things that come of that.
That's awesome.
So there's that, as we said, assist and prompt, Boggler prompt and Boggler assist are heavily and initially designed for business professionals, but we saw a need there to make it, to have not an option, but an inclusion of having more generic responses and interactions. So that'll accommodate, perhaps you're a student in a lecture, or perhaps your coach is telling you something, or perhaps you're having a conversation with your kid, or whatever it may be. I don't need action items and bullet points. I need some real context there. So I worked on all these algorithms, and it's crazy. You guys will see it soon, but in part of the summaries, the general summary by Boggler, it looks at context. I don't even think you've seen this yet. So it says, oh, well, Sam is in the studio and he's talking to Isaiah about this or this or this. They are both very excited and they're looking at ways that, I mean, so it gives, and I get a part of how it does that. I don't know how it does all that stuff.
Okay.
But it's really cool in that it does that. The other thing I did, which is absolutely humanizing this whole thing, because right now it's a computer talking to you, and we know people have problems with computers telling them what to do, right? But I simply asked it, please look at any significant things that were said and bring those quotes into the sound bites into your summary.
Yeah, the quote part I'm familiar with, and that's awesome.
I mean, it's cool.
Right.
And again, it's not just saying, oh, this guy said this and put it there. It's looking at, was it impactful? When Sam said that, did anyone else respond, or did that just go flying over their head? So it's measuring that too.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an amazing thing, and you'll see that in Assist.
Yeah, I mean, we've experienced just in the show talking about, different elements to where both Assist, and boggler prompt, yes, developed at least in your mind. You're thinking, okay, yeah, this is stuff I'm only going to use at work. Right, but holy cow! Once you really start to get used to and familiar with both of them, you absolutely will not. You might find yourself using it more for personal reasons than you do professional reasons.
Well, and then another crazy tidbit that jumps back to it is, remember, we tell everyone this isn't like a Google search. Ask it something and here's your response, and then we're done.
No,
this is the beginning of a conversation.
Right,
And so what I've also been playing with is refining that conversation. So you will have an interaction. It's entirely covered by Assist. But when you're talking with someone, there's a lot of extraneous, hey, how'd the Cowboys do?
Right.
Or what do you think about this? Or you're going to cook a brisket this week. All that stuff, which is fine. And that's part of the connectivity and emotional, all that kind of stuff. But I found it fascinating when I got my Assist summary back. I said, hey, this is great, but please just go back and focus in when we were talking about algorithms and run the entire thing over. So now it got very specific. So that was cool.
yeah,
The other thing that was fascinating with Tom, because remember, Tom is completely new to the AI. So he looked at a couple, like the email that was written, which was like, I mean, he just sat there in disbelief. And he goes, man, I wonder, I mean, that's an amazing email, but I wonder if you could make it sound more like the kids. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, make it sound as though it's coming from someone who is a tad autistic, not degrading it,
right.
but actually to
More authentic. Right.
More authentic. And if you haven't spent any time around them, there's so much optimism in these kids' voice and their interactions, which that's an observance, whatever. So we actually, and to our old, I don't know, let's see, that's every day here, right? And we just said, hey, can you do this email again, but do it in the style and tone and voice of somebody that is autistic, or that has, the new term is IDD, that someone is, that has IDD or is IDD. And sure enough, and it spit something up, and it looked a little different to me. I didn't get much of it, but Tom, who lives, he's like, oh my God, that is exactly, the kids say words exactly like this all the time, and it's going to be fantastic, and this and this and this, and that's what it said.
That's awesome.
So it's that, they call that fine tuning. So when you get your stuff back, the fine tuning that you're going to do will be a big difference.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Huh? Sam's doing a lot of talking today.
Yeah, I know, that's all right. I'm doing a lot of listening. That's
okay.
Good. Yeah, it's all good stuff. So let's get into a little rapid fire here. Again, this is going to go back to you because I know this is so in your wheelhouse. Let's talk a little bit about the GPT store.
GPT. So remember, Chat GPT is what most people have been using and been exposed to. And in the end, that's what Boggler is a GPT. It's not a GPT.
Remind everyone what a GPT is.
Basically what it does is that it's using it's looking at what you're typing and then guessing what you would really want, right? And instead of just doing a word or two in a text document, in a text that you're doing, it does entire ideas or business plans, or it'll solve the whole world guessing, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
So, but that process is called GPT.
GPT, yep.
Okay. So OpenAI has now created a GPT store, which you previously could go start making your own GPTs. What does that mean? That means that you're going to make one that's specific to a particular need or a particular industry or business or what have you. So again, this is all about the code that you use for this is natural language, i.e. talking to it.
Yeah.
So I played with it a little bit before it was a store, but after, hey, the store's coming out, you should do that, I said, well, let's give it another run. So I went and spent last weekend, I spent 2 solid days trying to program a GPT to make
an estimator,
to make an estimate for a client for a pro AI photo.
Yeah, okay.
And so, you know, a bunch of different rabbit holes, and I kind of got one done in the end. But here's the thing: I don't think in its current state, in the current technology and how it works, it's going to be usable to people.
I couldn't use it
because while after you sit there and work on it, go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then boom, it starts delivering exactly what you want. The very next time, it'll completely leave something totally out. So there's no consistency with it yet. And you have no knob to go tune and say it needs to be like this every time.
Okay.
So, and the other thing is, their thought is, here you go, world, you can go create your own. So the GPT store is not for Robbie or Sam. It's for individuals to go use. But it's way too complicated. I barely understand it.
There must need to be a programmer.
It is. And just have the programmer mindset anyway. But it's... Again, like all this stuff, it's going to advance so fast that eventually they'll get it together. And I don't know what their game is. Are they trying to be an app store like on Apple? And they're charging everyone for stuff and they're taking a big percentage? Which, by the way, one of the reasons you haven't seen Assist is that the app store on Apple, holy cow, the hoops you have to jump through to get there. So, yes, that is a big monster. But maybe that's what their ChatGPT store is going. They're trying to make a store where you go to get all of your GPTs as opposed to going to go get all your apps.
Okay. Yeah, that could be. Now let's jump into something I know you've been geeking out over for the last few days. Literally, you want to talk about the synthetic...
No, I want to show it, Robbie.
Oh, you do?
Okay, so we're going to cut video now, and please listen to this message from Sam. Hey there, I'm Sam Stanton, founder of redbutton.ai. Today, we live in an era where the pace of change is not just rapid, it's exponential. The things we once took for granted, the people and experiences we never thought to question, now require a second glance. You might be thinking you're hearing from the real Sam, but here's a twist. I am a synthetic version of him. I'm Sam AI. Ni hao, ni zamayan. Posso parlare in qualsiasi lingua. आप क्या सुनना चाहेंगे? Knyum kaks voine hada mong me chirkrum hui smurpan. Danu nakavi. That's me in Chinese, Italian, Urdu, Cambodian Khmer, and Chalcatongo Mixtec. Think about the implications. What is real anymore? How should our perception of reality change? The fact is, the future is here, and it's time to adapt, innovate, and rethink what we know. Welcome to your new world.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
Was that not the coolest thing you've ever seen?
It's cool. It's a bit intimidating. It is. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's some, you want to wrap your head around, there are clearly a lot of very cool positive elements that can potentially, that you can use it for, but then there's also the holy cow, how are we going to manage this?
So let me preface all this. Why are we doing this? Why am I showing this? Well, it's 2 parts. One, that we need to understand that, yes, here's all this new tech and all this stuff, but most importantly, how fast it's happening. I mean, we did, a year ago or something, we had Meta Mary when we were talking the metaverse, and I had this synthetic thing before we went to IMAX, and everyone's looking at this, and how did you do that?
We actually had that up on a huge, that was a big deal.
So that was really cool, and here's this, definitely a robot.
And her voice was almost, right? But
and you're like, oh, in the future. Well, dude, the future's freaking here, because let me tell you how all this went down. I recorded 30 seconds of me talking to my phone. Mm-hmm. I then uploaded that. Well, hold on. The other reason we're doing this is not to understand the speed, but it's to now open our eyes as to, wait a second, we need to relook at everything that's happening now because it's all changing. Okay, so that's the other part. So anyway, I uploaded, I shot on my phone 30 seconds of me looking at my phone talking. Okay, and then I uploaded it. And then it said, can you please verify it's you and record another video of you saying this is me and authenticate it. So that's BS. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I did that. And so then literally within 3-4 minutes, it said, okay, you are now programmed and ready. Please type in whatever you would like Sam AI to say. Okay? And so I typed in a script, and here's the power. I wanted to show the power of that. I typed in Chinese. I don't know Chinese.
You don't?
No, in case you didn't know that. So I did ask Boggler to translate to Chinese, and I said, let's do Italian.
Right.
And then, what was the other one? What's it called? Urdu? Was it Urdu?
Yeah, from Urdu.
Urdu. U-R-D-U. For those that don't know, that's the national language of Pakistan. So anyway.
Most people know that.
Okay. And I put in Urdu, which the other thing to know is that goes from right to left. So if you hit the right arrow on your keyboard, it actually goes left. Okay. So that'll mess you up.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
But I put all those things in there. Not only do I not know how to read them, I definitely don't know how to say them, but not a problem for Sam AI because I just typed it in and hit go. Now it did take about a minute to go through and process that and move me around and make my eyes open and talk. My tone is a little off. If you know Sam,
it is. Yeah.
It's not Sam.
Right.
But if you don't know Sam or haven't seen Sam, dude, I saw it on Facebook. It's real.
Okay, so what do you, from a use case perspective?
So a use case, first of all, before we get to the use case, the whole thing is this is an eye-opener to, we need to just give a second and a pause to everything we're seeing that's not Robbie standing here in front of me talking. Unfortunately,
which is sad.
That's where our world is going.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. And unfortunately, so much of our world believes everything. That was our recent stat. 73% of people believe anything they see on their Facebook stream as opposed to Robbie telling it to me directly to my face. Mm-hmm. Right? So all that to be said, if you can have that authentic of a person duplicated and saying whatever you want to say them, where does that go?
No,
so on the good side of things, Sam AI and this podcast and our quick starts and me speaking to all of our subsidiaries, because we've got, I think, 67 subsidiaries around the world, Robbie, that speak in 75 different languages. No, we don't.
We don't.
No, but we could now.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Because I could speak to everybody in that language just by saying, do it in Urdu.
Yeah. Sure.
Right? And then what does that look like? That can now be the front end of Boggler. So now you're talking to somebody. Right? So there's your concierge talking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, it's tough to wrap your head around it. It's crazy. Now you can, the obvious elements when you start thinking about, okay, what's the bad components? I mean, that's the scary part. Also,
that's the real scary part.
Certainly, to your point a second ago, everybody, 70 whatever percent it is, you believe what you hear on whatever network you want to watch or wherever.
And I don't want to talk about bad things, says everybody, and I don't want to have to worry about that now. That's not here. Well, the problem is it is here now.
Yeah, and as much as we are trying to talk about the positive elements of generative AI, and we don't want to scare the hell out of people. Right. With all of the other advances related to AI, it's important to educate yourself so that you do have the ability, because it's not going away. So it's important to educate yourself as much as possible. What is out there?
So it kind of goes back to our thinkers thing, is that we're all in this constant state of fast thinking. There's a question, there's an answer. I see something, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
We need to more than ever use some of our slow thinking, some of our deeper thought, and look at a whole situation, look at everything in its entirety, because it
Take
may
a
not
moment
be
to
as it seems.
process it in its entirety.
Because I mean, this. I was just listening on the radio today. Taiwan, I guess, just finished they're in the middle of their presidential election, and that's getting all thrown out like every election does. With here's sex tapes and here's bribe tapes and here's this or this. Now those were actual real things of real people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But holy cow, let me make one for you on here.
Yeah.
So we just have to be open to that and be able to have conversations about that. We are not doing this. We're not saying we're doing this.
No.
We're not promoting this.
We're just sharing it with.
We are just sharing it with everybody here. And it's a fascinating thing to start thinking about.
You know, one we don't have this on our list, but you're probably familiar with. Did you hear that Volkswagen announced that they're going to begin offering Chat GPT on their, I don't know if it's in their not every new model next year, I believe, so that you do not have to have a Chat GPT account.
So you can talk to your car.
It's going to be completely open, so you can talk to your car if you need more information specific to errors that, lights that may be coming on.
What is this for?
What is this for? Or if you're driving to a particular destination.
How far to the next gas station?
Right. It's crazy.
So on that same note, I heard yesterday, announced at CES, there's going to be a new key on your keyboard, Robbie. Keyboards have not changed in 27 years or something like that. And for Microsoft, because they freaking own everything with Office and all that stuff, and telling the computer manufacturers besides Apple, here is your load, here's what's going on here, software and hardware. Hardware has been a keyboard, same keyboard maybe you have a different color, but now there's going to be a Copilot button.
Okay.
So if you have a Copilot account, it pops up that. And if you don't have one, it pops up Copilot, which is what Bing has been renamed quietly behind the scenes.
Okay.
There's no more Bing. It's now Copilot.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll pop open in the browser and have Copilot. Things are changing, Robbie.
Great. Another window to pop up when you...
Right. But of course, it won't work until you sign in and have 30 different authentications and talk to your administrator and remember your password and set a different authenticator on it.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Or you just use Boggler.
Exactly.
So, and then one last fun one. I used Assist. I did a dictation on a walk as to, here's what people should know about a particular product. I then came back and said, run that, and following the best standards for creating a one-pager or whatever, please create a one-pager for this product. Boom. Beautiful. Right. Then I said, okay, let me use some of our design thinking about the potential client and that audience. Do what you just did, but make it fit to them. So for a business professional or someone in the medical field,
student,
whatever. Yeah. But then to your point, the assist would be, can you imagine having assist when you're in college and you sit in some lecture and some professor's just going off on whatever, and you're like, dude, I got it. Okay, if I boggle this, teach, right? And then do that and have that. So I said, right now, this one pager for college student, and use whatever the current slang is. So we both have teenagers now. I mean, I just now got a teenager, but so the response back was awesome because it did change it all up. And here's for your fam, and if you know, then you know, and all that slang went in there. And I don't think it sounded like nerd dad.
No, but and you and I both have a couple little side projects that we're working on.
Yeah.
And exactly what you're talking about, creating content specifically for my side project. I was working on different elements from a conversation perspective or from a reaction perspective. If a high school student is dealing with some type of adversity, or an athlete is dealing with some type of adversity. Give me 10, and I obviously posed what the challenge was, and hey, give me 10 responses that one athlete could say to another athlete in response to whatever had just happened.
Not dad, coach, or psychologist or whatever.
But to your point, initially, it was more dad speak. And at that point, it's like, oh, no. Let me remind you, we're talking about an interaction with high school athletes. I don't always like to use the word slang when I'm doing that, because that opens up Pandora's crazy box of all kinds of things. But to your point, take those 10 and reminding you that these are, high school athletes talking back and forth, and crazy. Yeah. Yes, words like fam, we learned with Pi a while back, the interaction with Pi, but element, it is amazing how it can take something that was very much dad speak and then convert it into what a high school athlete might say to another athlete.
And again, that's the fine-tuning piece that we're talking about.
Sure.
Great, it'll generate whatever, but you really get powerful with this when you go in and fine-tune it and make it specific using our design thinking for the audience it's intended for.
Yeah, no, we say this all, and we can wrap this up, but we say this all the time, at least I do. When you're interacting with Boggler, it's collaboration, right?
Yep.
And if I have a question for you, the way I ask the question or articulate the question is going to give you more information so that you can answer my question in a more detailed manner.
And the other side to that is, and we say that in the quick start, is you got to back up and you got to act like your 6-year-old niece who says why or why not or whatever, and just keep doing that. Have that inquisitive mindset to start getting better results. I think our quarter's running up on our timer here, so we're about due. But hey, everyone, do think about, as we enter this new year, what you guys are doing around enrichment and education and understanding and sharing your teams and your executives and your brand's outlook on what AI is and what that means to your organization. And consider a quick start. Whether we do it virtually or whether we do it on site, we've got some fun info around that and some fun, obviously, case studies of how that's worked. And we'd love to do that with you. Anything else, Robbie?
That's all I got.
So I think we've got some fun stuff happening here that we'll be able to share even more next week, I'm sure. It's a whole week away, Robbie.
Be patient. It won't be long before Prompt, the new version of Prompt and Assist are out there. So we'll keep talking about it. So
now go check and figure out if this was really Sam and Robbie or if it was really Sam AI and Robbie AI. That's what we want to learn today. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
See y'all.
Thanks for tuning into the AI show from Think Labs. Don't miss out on next week's episode where we'll continue to Fisher-Price the latest in AI that will make impact for you and your organization. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update, and visit redbutton.ai to learn more about innovation for professionals and organizations. By the way, I'm Boggler, Sam and Robbie's professional assistant that takes care of all their busy work. Ever think about all that repetitive, mind-numbing, time-sucking busy work I could knock out for you? That's it for now. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, make it an awesome week.